right? We come in twice a year and we're shooting, and these are like nitty gritty, like really tough days of 2 days of full on shooting, mostly video, and leaving with 6 months worth of content.
Thanks for listening to The Special Lists, presented by Referral Lab, the podcast for dentists and dental specialists.
And welcome to another episode of The Special List. I'm Cameron Full with my co-hosts, Souyias.
Howdy.
Did you just do howdy?
I did a howdy.
He saluted while he did.
And Seda.
No, it was like a wave.
Here we are again.
And here we are again. And we're bringing in, you know what, we're going a little bit off the reservation on this one with our boy, Andrew Jowett. Bringing in a unique guest this time. Andrew and I have known each other for, 7 years now.
Yeah. About
7 years. And Andrew has become a wonderful friend, and is an incredible contributor towards our industry in his own unique way. Andrew is he's the owner of MedCreative. He's a photographer, videographer, and social media extraordinaire. He said workhorse, but I'm going to say extraordinaire for all types of industries, but mainly in the dental space. Spent a decade working freelance photo video work and moved into the dental space pre-COVID.
Yeah. My office.
So Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Quite the introduction. I appreciate that.
Well, he didn't give us much else to work with.
Yeah.
We did forget to mention his amazingly, as Seda put it, coiffed hair.
Coiffed hair. Yeah, when we were doing pre-show, when we were in the green room,
we were chatting.
Yeah. They were looking in the mirror together, and they were comparing.
Joe was giving me Luke Perry vibes.
Yeah, our podcast listeners can't see it, but
can't
man,
relate to that.
But man,
it's visible on some of them.
But let's cut to the chase. I've known Andrew for at least 5 years. Worked with him several times. Like, tell people what you do. I think it's just better to have it come out from you up front so that it sets the tone for the rest of the conversation.
Yes, sir.
For sure. So in the simplest way, it's a creative storyteller for brands, right? And so I've done photography and video for a number of years, and probably over a decade now, I think is where the number tracks. But, I think everyone has a story to tell, and doing that through visuals is a powerful thing. And so that's where I come in and whether it's photography, videography, and those are my two main things that, I think I'm really good at in this world. So I've, been shooting for a long, long time. And I actually started in journalism. And so that's a good thing for anyone that is sort of new to photography or wants to get a job in photography that's starting out. I think journalism taught me so much about interacting with people more than anything, not hiding behind your camera, which has served me so well throughout the years. You're going sometimes to, you're working for journalism, newspapers, whatever it is, you're sometimes shooting people on a day that they do not want to be photographed. And so you've really got to learn that trust, right? Trust with your subject and doing it in a creative way. And so, and also, sort of, going on that too. I was shooting everything, right? From sports, features, breaking news. One day you're shooting, awesome portraits of someone, and the next day you're shooting, something that sort of just happened spontaneously. And so that taught me so much, and I was so lucky to cut my teeth doing that, because that served me so well in the future. And I sort of moved to commercial work and freelance work shortly after that, in around 2016, and that was when I started to really see possibilities with what I could do, and started shooting for more companies and telling their stories and what they wanted to say, and doing that in a visually heavy way. And, started working with an agency in Ohio, Content Experience Group, great place. They're an award-winning agency. And, was able to do quite a bit of travel and traveled the world with them, and did some really sort of bigger stuff. And then shortly after that, I think probably around 2019, Cam and Jason, is when I got my first dental opportunity, which I had never done dental before. Jason, do you remember that? Do you remember?
I absolutely remember exactly how
he was the first shoot. He was the first.
Not me. So it was his first shoot. But what happened? Here's the story. So
for one second. For those, before you get into this, for those that can't see, Jowett took the label off of his drink because he didn't want to screw up any sponsorship we have.
No free ads.
Gatorade.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had a sports drink sponsorship. I didn't want to ruin it.
Well, for any company out there listening, there's an opportunity right
Gatorade.
Particularly tequila, Seda said.
Red Bull.
Tequila.
Yeah.
Souyias.
Any tequila company looking to sponsor a podcast, we're open, guys.
Sponsorship. Yes.
We're open. Yeah,
Souyias, do it.
Software.
Go.
All right. So,
okay, Souyias, go.
So, Cam and I just met and he was helping me to rebuild my website. And he's like, man, you need a good photographer. So I pulled out my pocket knife and put my wife, Paula, on it. And Paula has a wonderful eye for stuff like that. And she came across your site and she says, this guy is talented.
Nice.
And so she saw that right away. She showed me your work that you had done or up to that point that was published on your site. And I was like, man. And so I went back, showed Cam, and Cam goes, this guy's good.
Yes, he is.
And that's it. That was our first dental experience. And you know what stands in my mind from that is like, I'm a dentist, man. I don't like having my picture taken. I don't like
yes, you do.
Being
Speak for yourself.
No, I don't.
Seda's over there like, man, I don't know. I kind of like it.
Seda loves his picture taken. Me, on the other hand, I'm kind of like,
Seda's like manscaping before the photography.
Let's do some more. Andrew, let's do some more. Come on, let's do.
So anyway, I don't love that. And man, like the way you were able to I was so impressed with how my photos turned out because you were able to, like you talked about in the introduction, you made me relax. You made me feel comfortable. And I was just able, and you guided me through each step to get what we needed. And I loved our first build round of the website, and the photos that we got were absolutely incredible. Just incredible. Like delivered exactly what I wanted it to be.
It's interesting because that was the first time I had ever shot a dental office. Right. Yep. And so I kind of, prepared for it and it's like, man, I think we're going to need 2 days. I think this is what we're doing day 1. Day 2 is going to be this. And, that is, since day 1, that has been the system I've taken for almost every office I've shot. Right. And it was just the preparation that goes into that. And, when you go to a place, you mentioned like feeling comfortable, like you're sort of on stage, right? Like everyone there knows each other. And so you're the newcomer. And so you really got to break that ice and make everyone feel comfortable to get what you want, right? Going in there and sort of, being the kind of weird photographer guy, that's just sort of shooting photos. Dashing photographer guy.
Yeah.
Like breaking that ice and making sure that people feel comfortable. You're going to get the best out of your subjects, right? You're going to get the best out of whatever you came to do and tell their story as accurately as possible because they're going to feel comfortable, and just like they would with a patient, right? Like they're going to give themselves in that comfortable space. And it was a fun time.
I mean, I've lost track of how many projects we've done together now, Andrew. And so what happened, and what Souyias didn't know and what most people don't know is that Andrew and I we had a lot of conversations about because I come from a creative family as well. And one of the things I tell creatives right away is like, hey, I learned to shoot on a medium format Hasselblad. And that they go, oh, okay.
He gets it.
And so but I don't shoot as well as Andrew does. There's hobbyists, there's people with good equipment, and then there's people that have a natural eye. And from someone that knows how to shoot good pictures with a good camera, it's a different bucket, and you're taking something that is, effectively mundane. I mean, let's be real, Souyias. What are the color of your scrubs in your office?
Black. Back then they were gray, like charcoal gray. Right?
Yeah. And your office is clean, but it's not modern. It's not fancy. No. And for a creative storyteller to be able to capture that in a way that makes it inviting, is the secret, right?
Let me share this with you. So what was so interesting to me is you'd have the main subject of the shot, but the way you would fill in the background to show animation and life of a dental office. These people were not in focus, but they're in the background doing something, and it fills the photo so incredibly well. And it makes instead of a dead photo of 2 people standing there holding charts, there's also stuff going on in the background. And then there's stuff over here on the other side of the background. And man, when I got those photos back, I was like, holy cow. You could feel the life of the dental office, and you did that so incredibly well.
Thank you. Yeah,
well
I remember.
Said.
Yeah, I remember that. That was, I think that, anytime you're sort of crafting that the full frame, right? Your eye just wants to travel around and it wants to see those things and And if you can look at that and visualize that ahead of time and plant those people there, maybe they're holding this or they're doing this, all that is just comes in the planning of making sure that, okay, we want to leave with an image that someone can feel something out of it. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we were able to do that, man. I still love that photo. It's one of my favorites.
I love those. Like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was up at the front desk area of our practice. And like, you just had people going in the background and it turned out so it's still on our website today, I think.
So when did you know, like, you were ready to transition to, because, there's a big switch as a person that's done this as well. It's like, this is going to be the space that I'm going to own. I think I can contribute to this space better than anyone else and make it my own. When did you know that you could do that in dentistry?
Yeah, that's a great question. No, I've never been asked that before.
And what a great feeling and that's exactly what you guys, all three of you do. When Cameron says that, what a great question, bro.
Great
question. Please.
When did I know? So, well, just to backtrack a little bit. So we did that shoot with Souyias, and then I think right after that, you were like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to my website guy. I think he likes your stuff. He'd like to send you maybe to other places." I'm like, "Okay, yeah." And so I got contacted with Cam, and so he's like, "Man, I love what you do. I think that you do it in a really unique way. I mean, no one else is doing it quite to that style or level, or whatever it was that you said was very complimentary at the time." And you're like, "I want to send you to this place and this place. We're going to go to South Carolina, you're going to Virginia, like all these places." And I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, "Okay, guy, sure. Like, I'll believe it when I see it." And I think like the next month I was on a plane to like 2 different states. And so he delivered. And so I saw that there was an opportunity there to help, places like Jason's office, and they were really excited about that. And, I think a lot of places will just hire the momtographer, or they'll do it and it just stays very dated for a long time. And you don't want to do it again because maybe you did have a bad experience. Maybe he or she didn't make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And so it was probably a couple offices in where I was like, man, like I actually really like doing this. It's a challenge. It's a fun, creative challenge, right? Like the art of dentistry, whether it's capturing lighting in a unique way, filling frames with maybe ideas that offices wouldn't have thought of, right? And so that art of dentistry of this unique challenge of making something that, typically isn't the sexiest, looking thing, right? And doing it in a way that people feel something from an image that's just from a dental office.
Yeah, we can't all be Seda.
Can't all be Seda. Couple offices in, I was like, man, this is really good. And, the traveling, I was a little bit younger at the this the traveling was fun. And every office this is another thing too. Like every office is so unique. Yeah. So vastly unique, right?
You're getting like a window into like a whole new family every time.
A whole new family, exactly. Yeah. Whole new family, and what they value, what they're looking for, what their expectations are. Like everything, every office, every doctor is so different, right? And so going in there and meeting those challenges and leaving with something that's like, hey, we've never seen our practice look like this before. We've never even dreamed of it to look the way that it did. And there's so much that goes into that, right? And we talked about like filling the frame too, Jason, right? Man, one of the things I love to do is we'll set up a strobe light outside a window if it's a first story office building, right? And you get this beautiful sun that comes in, and it's like, oh man, you never really imagine that what's possible until you have someone hopefully like me that's a little more creative that can do that. And so, man, it's a fun challenge, and it still is, right? Even so many years on, and so many different practices. Like I said, I don't know how many I've shot now, Cam. It's the list is long, but they're always fun, and they always present just a little different challenge every time, which is for someone who wants to solve those challenges, it's fun.
Well, I think there's it's a differentiating factor. So when you're looking at redoing your creative, whether it's your web or your still stuff or standard or even your socials, like, there's obviously everybody's got a patient that's got a husband's best friend. I mean, it's like standard fare. And then you get the hobbyist, right? Who's got some entry level DSLR with a, battery pack and a strobe, right? And you're going to get good enough. But in the age of like competitive advantage, in the age of like differentiation, for a nominal difference, good enough versus best in market is a substantial lift, especially I think in specialty when, you're trying to exhibit every reason why you should come to me or have your experience of whatever done here. That type of effort and engagement builds trust right out of the gate. The creativity, so the creative supplement, as long as, you can have all the accolades in the world, but if you've got if your office looks drab and you haven't done anything to support that it's the place to come, it becomes difficult. It's not as inviting.
And we're so used to seeing, if you go on social media, right, we're so used to seeing visuals that are so, not necessarily polished, but we're so used to seeing visuals, right? And so you're inundated with all these images. Man, this place looks cool. Lake Como, man, that looks really cool. And so if you go and see something that, is actually reality for you and you go to this place, you're like, oh man, it just subconsciously, man, it doesn't click, right? And so you want to have really, engaging emotional connections, right? With what you see. You want to feel something, right? All the little details, the subtleties, man, they all go into your decision making. And so, yeah, that's, I do it because I love being creative. I love telling stories. For me, that's the biggest thing is, every office has a unique story, right? What they want to communicate to their current patients, their potential patients, it's all storytelling at the end of the day. And to do it with really good visuals and making people, feel something and hopefully act on it is always the goal.
So without giving away your secret sauce.
Yeah.
Okay. And you got a practice down the road that knows he wants to commit or she wants to commit to this level of creative, but isn't ready to bite you off and wants to give away some pointers. Like, let's take this special list a little bit differently, right? So when you're building your set list and you're walking into that practice, what's one of the first things that you give attention to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'm always looking at light, right? Like that's always the biggest thing is like, how can I utilize light or how can I manipulate it into a way that, man, looks really good, right? Because a lot of the times, you might go to some practices, like rarely are you going to have like a 2 corner windows that like bring in this beautiful morning light or afternoon light, everything hits really good. Or like there's not like a 7-Eleven, down the window, right? Like how can we manipulate light and our scene to make it the most inviting that it is? So I'm always looking at light and how that affects what I'm going to do for the rest of my time there.
Okay.
The next is like, I'm always trying to making sure everyone feels comfortable. I'm trying to find the team members that I know are going to help me out down the chute. Like, hey, I want someone to hold this. I want someone to hold this instrument. Go up to the 3D X-ray. I want you to do this for me real quick. And we're going to, because, the biggest thing is you don't want to be disruptive to an office, right? Like I try and, do one day where it's a little bit more directed. We have dedicated time with the doctors because it's so tough to nail some of them down to the floor and like, hey, we're going to shoot this. But the first day is typically always candid. And I do that, to be able to just get my bearings. I want to be able to have, an office in its normal working environment. We're not shooting any patients. It's mostly just team members doing their things, but I'm also feeling people out and making sure that, hey, if I need someone to do this, like I know that they're going to be on board for it. Right. Cause you don't want to there's always, maybe it's a little judgmental. I don't want to say it like that, but like every office sort of has like their stock characters to a certain extent, right? Like there's always the really, chipper team member. There's always the one that's a little sassy. There's always, someone who doesn't want their photo taken, so you've got to, find the team members who are going to help communicate the story of this place. And the ones that, can do that, like they typically help me and we'll shoot certain things. We'll set them up in certain places. So it's lighting. It is the team. Those are the two biggest things I sort of really, try and figure out as soon as I end up somewhere.
How about the awkward doctor?
That's a thing, man. That's a thing. What are you trying to say?
Singular. Seda.
It's again.
That's a real thing. Like you've got guys. You've got charismatic guys. Like listen, Seda's a charismatic guy, right? We love to hassle with him on the show. Souyias is also pretty charismatic. Like there is a reason that we have fun talking to each other. The reality is that not all people are this way, and especially when you've got a figurehead that it's built around that you're like, oh, this friggin' people told me I got to get my picture taken, and now you've got the awkward doctor.
it depends what the deliverables are too, right? Like if we're just doing photos, then you can sort of approach it a certain way. If you're doing photos and video, you sort of approach it a different way, because then you have to really communicate with them and get them comfortable on camera. Because even, if anyone, right, if I was to shove this, lens right at you,
Totally.
right, like that gets everyone a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
And so you've really got to find ways to do that, and that's letting them know that you're on their side. We're going to create really good things, giving them an update throughout, like, hey, this is the cool stuff we're shooting. So they can sort of have a little bit of that buy-in, as we're sort of there. But also just finding common ground, like, hey, what do you do outside of dentistry, right? And getting them talking about things that they're really confident about is super important, because then you can sort of hit them with a question of like, hey, tell me why dental implants are better than this, or tell me why we do this process and why we think we're really good at it for our potential patients. And so, yeah, I mean, there's always, he or she, that doctor out there that's a little, maybe uncomfortable on camera. It's always, it's always a barrier you got to break, right? Whether they're charismatic or not, because they don't know you, right? And they don't trust you completely yet. They know of your work, right? And you've just showed up at their new place. And I think everyone, believe it or not, all dentists, I think, do have some degree of, they can be on stage, right? Like they do. You have to make your patients feel comfortable to a certain extent anyways, right? And so there's always that there. And so I think you just tapping into that by making them feel comfortable, is the goal.
Because you shot so much dentistry as a whole, do you think that it's helped you really come in and be able to win the confidence of the doctor and the team? Like, what's happening, what the instruments are, about procedures.
Yeah, but you're constantly learning too, right? Every single time I go somewhere, I'm learning something new, and I want to be able to talk their language is important, right? Because you say like, hey, this patient looks like they have an altered passive eruption,
What?
And then, do you not know what that is? Yeah, I'll tell you, buddy. It's a gummy smile.
No, my shock is not.
Right?
My shock is not that Andrew knows it. It's that Cameron doesn't know.
Exactly.
That's where I'm sorry. Let the pause be clarified.
Yeah, that's right, buddy.
Right.
That's right. All the
Yeah,
best
so don't let him try to strong arm you into feeling weird for knowing it.
Well, first of all, I'm like, man, did I say it right?
You did. You did great.
So I said that to a doctor.
We'll address this later, Cameron.
Yeah. Just recently, I said it to a doctor, and I think that I could not, like, her head swiveled so quick. Yeah. I'm like, what did you say? I'm like, yeah, like I know this, like I really try and know as much as I can, because I want to, when you communicate something to me, I need to be able to show that visually, right? And if I don't know what that is, or if I'm slow on it, or if I'm not up on the upkeep, like, I need to be quite a bit of an expert in what you do, so I can communicate to people that don't know, that aren't an expert. And that's mostly through video too, right? Like if we have some talking head series, how can we communicate what you're saying to, like, hey, I know what you're saying, and I also know what people that don't know what you're saying, how they would receive that. And so, that's all part of the translation process, and then making it look, visually compelling. That's what this is all about.
Given that you have a journalism background, I kind of feel like people that get into journalism, like the essence of journalism, maybe in one of its most pure forms, is like truth, right? Like revealing truth.
Yeah.
And then you get into this like age that we're in now with social media and the internet and all of it, even AI. And, like there's this like heavy dose of like, what is truth in what I'm seeing? That people portray their lives, the pictures we see on Instagram, all of it. And, when I see you do what you do, I feel like you're really bringing it back to the essence of, what am I seeing? How can I show it to others? What is the essence of this place, as we talked about? And there's like a truth to that, right? Do you ever think about that? Like, the truth versus the disguise behind media.
Yeah, we can't fake anything, right? Like we all know it's so easy to sniff out something that's fake, something that's AI, or something that just doesn't feel right, And so six fingers, exactly, right? And so anytime you're shooting something, you want to bring it out to its best version of itself, right? When you go to a place like your offices, right? Like we're not painting the walls a different color in Photoshop, right? It is what it is. But we're doing every single possible thing we can with lighting, with framing, with composition to make it look as good as it possibly can. And yeah, like if we do throw a light out and like, hey, maybe this, if you know that office really well and the sun doesn't set right there, but the light coming in, that's an emotion and a feeling that you get more so than maybe it being like, hey, we just AI'd a sun out there. But no, this is the emotion and feeling you get when you get this warmth coming into a place, that warm, fake sun out there, which you really can't tell. You throw some like orange gel on a strobe and it just creates this beautiful light. Like that's a feeling that you're trying to evoke more so than tricking someone into like, hey, this place doesn't really look like that when you show up. Like you can't do that, right? You can't, because people are really, really adept about sniffing that stuff out. And even more so now than ever on social media, like, hey, that's just not real, And so you don't want to be ever in a position where you've got to explain yourself to like, hey, no, we just did that in Photoshop. Like, no, you can't do that. So truth seeking and making sure that you do something that's authentic is absolutely important.
Well, and sometimes, the perceived truth of dental practices is the harshness, the pain, like so many people are so afraid to come to the dentist. Yeah. And when you can present, like you just said, warmth of a sun coming in through the window, like it creates a different feeling and puts that person at ease before they even get to your practice.
Yeah. It's all subconscious too, right? Like you see things, the images that you see, like it always, maybe you don't know what it is, why it looks like that, why you feel that way, but it's all about the trust, right? Yep. And the confidence that you're going to have before you even get there. You want to see the doctor, you want to see him or her smiling and interacting with someone that is real and a real person.
Smoking.
Back in the day,
smoking cigarettes.
Real.
Did they do that back in the day?
Oh my God. I had a doc. There's a doc up in Yale. He's passed away a long time ago. He had an office the size of a closet, and he had a smoke eater in one corner and a smoke eater back in the other up high. And he'd sit there and chain smoke cigarettes in between patients in his closet of an office. Yeah. It was crazy.
God, I read this thing on this. They were doing who's the Tommy Shelley, the Peaky Blinders guy? Is that right? He smoked like
Tommy Shelby.
He smoked like 18,000 rose cigarettes, rose petal cigarettes. He said it was the most challenging. Yeah. You should do that. That'd be good. That'd bring life to the film. Andrew, is doctors smoking rose.
Yeah, we're gonna do a total new reshoot at my office with Peaky Blinders attire.
Peaky Blinders.
The costumes in that show are epic, by the way.
They are really.
We should start doing. I should start doing some like sort of stylized.
Exactly.
Shoots like, hey, we're going to do a 1930s. What do you think, Jason? We're going to do a bootlegger's prohibition era where you're treating patients with
like the amusement park, sets that you buy shots in with your kids or whatever.
Oh no, like
we're just going to do it to Souyias' practice.
We'll just go like barber chair era.
Exactly. That's awesome. Seriously, I think it used to be that the dentist was the barber.
The barber was the dentist, right? Like, let's take out teeth and cut your hair.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite shot from a dental practice so far, Jowett?
Man, that's a really good question.
You got it. You know you do. A couple is fine.
This is me stalling for time here.
Take your time.
Man, I think that maybe what someone else would see is like, hey, like this is your best shot. For me, like I know what goes into a shot. I know all the timing and the details and like, hey, the preparation or the composing and making sure that, hey, this light goes this way. And so I know like, man, that shot was really tough to capture or tough to make and create, right? And so my, what I value is maybe different than like, oh, that's a really pretty photo with good lighting, And so with that said, I think Jason, let me look at my website real quick. Jason, that photo that's...
you can't do that.
What? I can't look at my portfolio?
You can't call out the host.
Oh yeah, you're right. I don't want to do that.
But maybe it's almost
maybe that
also
is
like
his favorite photo.
It's like
Come
it's his children,
It's
like
a good
you can't
one. It's
pick
a really good
favorite of your children.
There's a couple places out in the
his photos are his babies.
Couple places out in the Dakotas. I've shot some really cool stuff there. I think that they have like those are really fun places, and like any place with windows, right? Like it just allows you to be more creative and manipulate light in a cool way. So those places are really good. Man, I shot
what a neat thing, by the way. This guy, sorry to interrupt, but like you've been everywhere from like the Dakotas to Florida, California to DC. Maine, and everything in between. And the thing is there's a few things that bind all places together, and the presence of a dental practice is one of them, right? It's ubiquitous, but so many different flavors and places, and
we got to get Alaska and Hawaii.
There we go. Have you been to Alaska and Hawaii?
Never been. No, never been. I've been to some really cool places, but those
dental practices in Alaska.
They do
call the
implants
800
in
number.
Yeah. Reach out, medcreative.com. He'll give you a deal. I didn't say that, but he will if you're in Alaska or Hawaii.
Juneau. We need a Juneau office.
Mention Specialist Podcast and
for your discount.
Yes, do it. Love that.
It's hilarious.
Andrew, and I don't know if this is you can push me off here, but I think some of the reason that you're so you're able to capture like you are is because of your background. And that's a hypothesis that I've always had that I don't think we've ever talked about. And the business that you grew up in.
Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about like your family history and some of your jobs that you've done, because what I think it's kind of created, it's molded that your ability to see things differently.
I think so. So, I think I know where you're going with that.
Oh yeah.
And so, but before that, I think this is another good.
Let's get some background story.
Some background. Well, first off,
for those of us that don't know,
my mom is a dental hygienist, and so that is an amazing icebreaker too. When I go to an office and I talk to the hygiene team, I was like, my mom is also a hygienist, and they typically ask, which practice is she working on? Oh, well, I'm not from here. Like she works where I'm from, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. And I think that I'm the only patient that's ever sat on her lap, or at least I like to think so. And so they always get a good kick out of it.
Are we supposed to joke right now? Are we supposed to laugh?
Yeah, that was a good or the better one is I think she's the only person that's ever cleaned my teeth. And then I'm like, oh yeah, like someday I'm gonna go to a new place, and like, yeah, you're the first person to clean my teeth other than my mom, and they'll think I escaped from the Amish community or something.
Yeah.
So again, come on, man. When you go to a dental office, you're the new guy. I get way more laughs when I show up with that.
Are these jokes?
Yeah, these jokes. All right, man. Come on, I'm trying my best. So the family
you get
business
for hanging me out to dry with that whatever.
Altered passive eruption, buddy. You're looking up. My family business that I grew up in is funeral homes.
Yeah, man.
So my dad is a funeral director and owns a couple of funeral homes, and I grew up around that. And I think you have to be a very specific person to be able to go into that business. Not only sort of deal with the emotional side of that, right, with families, and you're talking about someone's most important person important possession that they possibly have is someone that they love, right, and then dealing with the business side of that, it takes a really unique person, and my dad is that unique person, and for me, growing up, and that wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do, but I got so many really good values from him, and also my mom, but certainly values from my dad of what what it took to even just run your own business. Right. Like that's a huge thing for me too, where it's, I am sort of my own, business owner and being a sole proprietor or whatever it is, it takes a lot to do that. What do you want to know about the funeral home business?
Man, the gift of taking someone that's passed away and making them look alive.
Oh, that
is one of the most difficult things. I think the expectation that you must meet is almost completely untouchable.
Yeah.
And like whether or not that was your path, which it wasn't, the reality is that you spent a lot of time around that expectation. And I think that's contributed so much to how you approach your shooting.
Sound familiar, Souyias?
We're waiting.
As a dentist, sometimes we also feel
like where are you going?
It's really hard to meet the expectations, of people that have very high expectations, right? It's a very high pressure situation, and it takes a certain type of personality to help keep it even keel and, have people come out on the other hand satisfied with what you've done for them. Photography especially, right? Like people have such high expectations.
Yeah. And now more than ever, because of we're in the Instagram era where everybody with a phone with filters thinks that they're capable of doing what Andrew does. Yeah. And the reality is that's not the case.
It's not the case.
If you ever been to a funeral, you'll notice above the casket, there's red lights. That helps with skin tones, softens a little bit. So if you ever notice, you ever look up above a casket, you'll notice those. All those small little visual things.
So do you use red lights in your shoots?
It's all red lights. Yeah, we make everyone look really. I mostly for Jason and Seda, we had to bring those in.
I was looking very pasty that day.
Yeah.
I was
bring the red lights.
Try to not look dead.
Three shades of bronze. Lighter.
What do you guys? I mean, you know me, but like, I guess from a doctor's perspective, what's it like when you're like, hey, we have to do a photo shoot? Like, what does your team say? What's like from that side of it? What do you guys think, or what's your perspective?
I feel like I'll go first on that one. I feel like there's two ways to do it, right? You can stop the office and then everyone's just focused on the shoot and, let's go through what we think we want to do. Or you can do it where the office is running and you're kind of seamlessly, as you do, weave in and out and pull people out individually and whatnot. And so the only way I feel like we've done it in my office was the latter of those two options, right? The office is humming, patients are coming and going. And, Andrew's so tactfully, and we have a smaller office, it's more confined. There's not a lot of space, but you never feel like Andrew's in the way or like interfering with the natural process of the office. And so it just lets me shine. And I love just letting you do your thing and it works well. So for me, it's always kind of a fun thing. I never dread it, knowing that, and also Andrew's fun to hang out with, so it's easy. And before you know it, the 2 days are up and it's like, wow, we did this. Yeah. That's how it feels on my end. Anyway.
Good.
So Andrew, when did you, go ahead, Souyias, sorry.
We've done it. I had a couple office photographers in here before I met you. And that was part of where the dread came from, right? Just no guidance, bright lights, sitting in a corner, taking pictures, and that's not at all what it's like when you come in to take photographs. And that's the cool thing now too. The team, because we've worked with you since 2019, every time we redo photo shoots, the team's never oh gosh, photo shoot. I mean, they get a little oh, I've got to really make my hair look good that day or something like that, right? But that's about it. There's no dread. We did it the opposite way, Seda. We actually stopped the practice when Andrew comes in, and we set things up for both days. Well, usually we're able to do it in one because you're local.
No,
typically one. Yeah.
Seda's when Andrew comes into his practice, he's like, "Fuck it, we're going live. We're going live."
And the beautiful thing is, man, I do feel both ways I can do both ways, right? I can do where it's hey, man. See out of the way, Andrew, and get what you need to get, but do it in the way that we can leave with the shots that we really want. Yeah. Or we do it in a way that Jason mentions is where you sort of stop it. You have a little bit more time. You can plan a little bit better, but I do think that they both have their, we can still leave with really good stuff either way. It's just about, how much do I need to get skinny and get out of the way a little bit to get those. And
you make it so easy. You put people at ease and and the ladies on the team too, they don't, again, a lot of them aren't looking forward to having their photos taken all the time. But man, you put people at ease, you make them relax, you make them feel good, you get natural, nice looking smiles. And it's amazing how the photographs have turned out for us.
What's the experience too, right? As doctor, it's more so than just hey, we can't have them just, we want them to have a healthy and beautiful smile, but did they feel good throughout the process?
And then you nail that. You nail that part of it.
So about a couple of years ago, Andrew, you started to kind of change up your offering a little bit.
Yeah.
You started to get a little bit more involved with social. So
I did.
Talk a little bit about the difference between shooting for traditional brand and traditional content versus participating with the practice in a social context.
Sure. So doing this for a number of years, right? And kind of this is the genesis of it, is that doing, these office shoots, these sort of brand shoots, 2 days on site, leave with a bunch of photos, leave with a bunch of videos and sort of coming into that and okay, so we're just handing the assets off, right? And so that worked really good. And then, hey, you ask an office here and there, hey, you guys on social, you guys use Facebook? Oh yeah, for sure. And so I'm okay, well, I'm shooting video. We're going to cut this hero video or this doctor interview video. I'll just cut some stuff, vertically for you guys for social. I'll add some subtitles and sort of just make it a little bit more user friendly when they have videos that are made typically geared for social, right? It's a little bit different. And so drop off like 10 of those for you guys in the inbox, and you guys can use those. And it's just a little bit of a fun add-on, right? Because they're using social, I want them to be able to get maximizing the most use out of the imagery, right? Like you want to be able to send this, not just on the website, you want to put it on Google, right? There's so many different avenues to get the life cycle out of these, more so than just like, hey, we're just going to slap them on a brochure and, we'll put them on the website. And so I always want to make sure we're providing the most amount of value. And so I'd ask in place, we would do that, and then, a month would go by and like, okay, how'd those do? Or like, oh, we haven't got to posting them yet, and we've just been busy. And so, I realized, there's a little bit of a gap there. And as far as like, man, like we really need to be putting this imagery and this storytelling to work as opposed to just like hoping. Right. And so, yeah, it was something that had been on my mind for quite a bit. And Cam, we talked about this, right? Like there's a need for it, right? Because, the team member at the front office, like she's got so much on her plate and she's not an expert in it, right? And so she needs to be doing what she does really good. And the doctor needs to be doing, he or she needs to be doing what they do really good. And so like offering like a sort of a full turnkey solution for, putting this imagery to work, putting these videos to work in a social form, certainly felt like a no-brainer. And so, yeah, it's a little bit different when you go to a place. And so we, as MedCreative, we do it a little bit differently where, we sort of do it on a monthly basis to a certain extent, right? We come in twice a year and we're shooting, and these are like nitty gritty, like really tough days of 2 days of full on shooting, mostly video, and leaving with 6 months worth of content, right? And doing it in a way that's geared for social. There's not necessarily a lot of the headshots. It's not necessarily a lot of the office stuff. It's video that's going to perform really well on social media. That's going to get that brand loyalty. That's going to create a connection. That's going to have someone that's like, okay, I'm going to stop scrolling. And even this is dental office, right? Like you've really got to even work harder to get a dental office, to someone to stop on a dental office video. Like that can be challenging, right? And so you want to provide really good assets. And we do that, I think, really well.
Without doing it Tyler Durden.
Fight Club? Don't talk about it? What's the Tyler Durden? What is the Tyler?
Go back and reference what they did with the video, what they spliced in. We'll let you do the research on that one.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we don't do that. Yeah, that's not a hook that typically performs really well. So yeah, you mentioned like, it's even, but like, we stay away from like TikTok dances too. It's interesting, right? Because every dental office is unique, and you want to showcase their best attributes, whether it's a doctor who's just incredibly smart and articulate and can really talk to a patient about this, or it's like, hey, your team is really good. And the number one reason people really come in here is because, man, they just love our team. They feel really welcomed. And so you've got to lean into certain things in different places. And so every office, and more so than even just going to shoot photos, like every office is so vastly unique. Their social, the messaging they want to put out there, what they're really good at. Yeah. And so like that whole thing is a very fun, unique challenge because, what might work for one office doesn't necessarily work for the other. And so you've got to really prepare, and you're leaving with 6 months worth of stuff and posting that for them throughout. Right. And so allowing them to be able to see the calendar. Hey, like, we're looking at, the June ends and we're looking at July. Okay, well, here's exactly what's going to be happening in July for you. Here's the posts that we created months ago that are going to make sense in July. All that storytelling that goes along with that. Nice. It's a lot of work, but it's so much fun because you can see the results too. You can provide the analytics. You can say, hey, this is starting to sound really, really salesy, but you can show them like, hey, we got, over the past year, 200,000 impressions. 200,000 views, all your followers grew to this. And it's tough to really, to see the results. Cause it's sort of like a digital billboard, right? Is someone coming in because they saw this awesome implant video we did? Well, it's tough to track that. But, at the same time, why did I reach into the cooler and grab an ice cold, refreshing Coca-Cola? Well, it's because subtly, I've been told that that's really good.
Or Don Julio.
Or tequila. Or Don Julio. The smooth, beautiful taste of Don Julio.
Or a referral lab. A cold referral lab.
Cold referral lab.
Oh my God. I've heard it all.
Data.
Come on.
Awesome. Well, man, super grateful.
Very impressive, by the way.
Super grateful that
the hair? You mean the hair? Is that what you're saying?
All of it.
All
you clearly haven't thought about any of this. And it's just refreshing to hear a creative person like yourself kind of get into the weeds a little bit about what you consider, what your motivations are, what you're looking at, the goals of it all. And it all tracks and aligns with my experience with you You're the real deal, man. Grateful to have you on.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Each of you have all had a really impactful part of my process, and so I want to thank each of you for teaching me a lot and also just being good people. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of the Special List, and we can't wait to.
If you wanna hook up with Andrew,
that's right.
We're gonna put the contact and socials and everything on the show notes. So look down there. And try to get a gander of him on YouTube. Don't just listen to this. All right. Dylan from 90210 is like reincarnated.
Is it medcreative.com?
Medcreative.com,
yeah,
correct.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Guys, a pleasure. Hasta luego.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks for listening to The Special Lists, presented by Referral Lab, the podcast for dentists and dental specialists, featuring a special list from a specialist. Got a question for us? Send us a message at speciallists.com with 2 L's. Transform your referral workflow with Referral Lab, the purpose-built platform for dental specialists to track, manage, and convert every referral. Request a demo at referrallab.io.